conversations that you've been having with staff at both the NDIA and then also with organisations across the trial sites, quality and safeguards is a term that comes up quite frequently. So what are the NDIA and what should we be doing as a peak body to advertise the importance of quality and safeguards by way of service delivery for our organisations?
So I start from probably the highest level and then get into the nitty gritty. I guess most people would be aware that Department of Social Services have been involved in the Quality Safeguards Framework. So that took place last year and is still going on now. And it was a consultation phase, face-to-face consultations with stakeholders as well as participants, and then obviously an invitation to provide a submission. So ECIA has been involved in all of those areas. So we really are waiting to hear from the Commonwealth about those quality and safeguards. A big thing for us was that, and we've talked about this from the start when ECIA was involved in sort of the drafting of the legislation and the rules about making sure that children and families have a specific component that looks different to the rest of the scheme. The early years with childhood is completely different to the adult space, and a lot of the terms in the legislation, the rules, and on the NDIS website even, for example, are quite adult centric. Of course, because the majority of the scheme, the age
it's going to fall into that age bracket. Of course.
But it's unique for children, and there's added layers of complexity around families' environmental concerns, and also the way that families are engaged in all different service systems across the board, and key transition points as well for them. So a lot of our consultations were about ensuring that voice for early childhood. So that's at that highest level.
Sure.
From a practice point of view, which is sort of the core work of ECIA, is quality services and ensuring that they remain under an NDIS. Obviously we have the National Best Practice Project.
Absolutely.
And that has looked at, we've had over 400 people come to those consultations really talking about what it is that early child intervention does and what service looks like from a range of different people from different backgrounds. If we're going to have a national scheme and we've got all these states and territories feeding into that, there's obviously going to be some differences, which is fantastic, but there needs to be consistency in terms of quality that aligns with an evidence base. So the findings from that will be really interesting, I guess, to be able to put some standards around best practice. And the key part of that, though, and I say it all the time, but there is so much truth in it, is the main safeguards for the scheme and the fundamental component of the scheme's success is that families are well informed about what quality looks like, and you don't know what you don't know. If you're not sure what services should look like, you're not informed or empowered to ask questions about, is this right? Could it look different? Do I want this for my family? Then we've got a serious problem on our hands. And so the project needs to really extend to educating families in the community about what quality service is.
Exactly.
We can have all the quality services in the world, which would be fantastic, but we want families really driving that. So we've got a lot of work to do in that space. So.
And they've got to really understand that. And you've been saying that a few times in some of your speeches across the country. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what you don't know, as ridiculous as that may seem, ask questions. Ask questions to your peak body. Ask questions to the organisations that you're receiving services from. And jump online, because you really do need to upskill yourself as a family. It's a new and it's an intimidating world to receive some pretty shocking knowledge that your infant may have a disability or a developmental delay, and it's an emotional time. So try and upskill and educate yourself as best as possible is the best way forward.
Absolutely, and I guess the way that particularly block funding's been delivered as well is that families are really happy to receive the service, and the services in Victoria have been of high standard, but if you don't know what those have looked like, and you've never really been in the driving seat, that you actually now get to choose what they look like, and you get to choose when you want to see your worker and in what environment, and that's all fantastic, and it's been something that we've been pushing for a long time, and is finally now happening, but people can only do that if they're well informed. They can make well informed choices, not from a position of not knowing. So we need to make sure that our and it's sort of what we were talking about before, communication and resources about what quality is need to be engaging in different modes of communication. Obviously, some people do have capacity to be, you know, pioneers in finding out what quality looks like, and the internet's an amazing place for that. Other families need a bit more support on that journey, so we want to make sure that we are targeting all families, not just a you know, cohort with a high capacity.
We've got the access to internet and mobile devices in this day and age.
Exactly.
Yeah.